Okay, realize for a lot of people, once we get through problem like 11 or so, if you made it through 11, though, you're really in the home stretch. 11 was a very difficult problem. And I'm not saying they're getting any easier, but you're getting more confidence in doing the problems. So over here, I want to claim what I'm doing, which I'm not going to say is the best thing to do. It's what I see. And I'm going to say, I make this substitution over here. And then I plug it into the first equation. Relatively simple, by the way. And then I simplify it. I'll get something like this over here. Now, some people have a concern, why did you square it? Because I'm seeing fourth powers in the second guy. So I squared both sides, and then I came up with this over here. Relatively simple to square, by the way. I'm going to say it's remarkable I was able to get there, but I did get there. Let me erase this over here. And again, I want to tell you right now, the first milestone I meet is this one over here, right? The next milestone I want to meet is making a substitution in the second equation. And I would get something that looks like this over here if I plugged into the second equation. Does it require work? It sure does. So given the hint, work. Again, given the hint, work. The work is going to lead to, let's see where we are at this point here. This is the second equation. This is work. So first and second equations, we got those over there. Then you're kind of looking at those guys there, and what do you notice about it? You notice that if you subtracted the two, some things would disappear that are sort of nightmarish, all right? And what would you be left off with if you subtract those things? The U4 would disappear. Well, that's good news. You would get, let's see, 14 minus 6 is, let's do it the other way. Let's do 9 minus 1 is 8 V4. That looks good. And then you get 6 minus 14 minus 8 U squared V squared. So you'd get this over if you did the subtraction as advertised. Let me just go backwards. I'm going to highlight that. Bear in mind, it took work to get there. This is not something you look at and say, oh, gee whiz, I see that. You don't see that unless you do the work, all right? Now, of course, I'm over here now, and here comes my problem. I got to factor that, all right? So looking at that, I'll put a little work down for you. Not much, but some work. I'd probably factor out an 8v squared. And then what would you get? If you did that, you get v squared minus, let's see what you get there, u squared, right? Let's see if I did that right. And then what do you get? You get 8v squared, v minus u, v plus u. All right? I'm kind of looking at this, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's an error, by the way. I think they should have written something different there. And I'm actually gonna correct it. Not that it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. It just doesn't seem to follow from that. It's really equivalent statement, though. I still have the 8v squared. I still have the u plus v. The only difference is this thing is v minus u. They have u minus v. But clearly, as written, this needs to be corrected, all right? So I'm going to write 8v squared down is the correct form, and then v plus u and v minus u equals 0. I'll correct that. Here comes my problem now. And the problem is, what if v is 0? That would be a true statement, right? So if v is 0, I got to find some place where to plug it in. Now you might say, oh, no, I know what u is. You don't know what u is. I'm going to say I need to plug it in somewhere that's easy for me to deal with it. So I'm going to plug it in over here. That's an easy place for me to deal with it. And what would the u be? The u would be plus or minus 1. All right? So I think I can handle that. But then someone says, you didn't want the u and v, you wanted the x. So let's put this down. V equals 0, u equals 1. What would x equal? 1. What would y equal? Let's be careful here. It would equal 1. So I get a point, 1, 1. All right. Let's say if v were 0, but u is minus 1. What do you get? Well, you get u plus v for x, which would be minus 1. And for y, you would get u minus 0. That would be minus 1 minus 0, which is minus 1. All right, I want to go to the key, and I want to see if that written down here. You got that covered. All right. Now, I'm moving around. Let me erase this over here. We're done with this. Actually, you know what? I'm done with this too. I do need to make the correction though, and I will correct that. All right? You know what? I erased something I shouldn't have erased though. What I have over there, 8v squared, and then you had, let's see, you'd have v squared minus u squared, which is equal to 8v squared, v minus u, v plus u. All right? So here's another possibility. V could equal u. All right, v could equal u. All right, let me see if they have that. Yeah, the second one they have down. V equals u. So I can put that over here, see what happens. So if v equals u, what would you get? Again, v equals u. You would get u squared plus 3u squared is equal to 1, or u squared would equal 1/4. So what would u be equal to? Plus or minus 1/2. All right? So that means v equals that. Okay, let's write this down. So what would x be? Well, if you had 1/2 and 1/2, right? That would be 1. And what would y equal? 1/2 minus 1/2, which is 0. So I got another point. I got 1, 0. All right, let's try another one. And let's try the minus minus. Minus 1/2, minus 1/2. What do you get there? You'd get x would be 0, and the y would be, let's see, minus 1/2, minus a minus 1/2, it's going to be 0. So you get 1, 0, 0, 0. You know what? I think I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. I see where I made the mistake. I'm glad I have a key, though. And the reason I have a key is you know you made a mistake. I'm not sure why that happened. So, again, x is equal to u plus v. So it would be minus 1. And then this thing over here is the difference between the two, which is 0. So, yeah, this is correct. There's nothing wrong with this. All right, let's go to the next condition. And I want to put out the conditions that we've met so far. We've done this condition where v was 0. We've done this condition where they're equal. And now the next condition is where they're opposites. All right? So I'm going to put that next condition down. I'm going to erase this business over here. And that condition is when they're opposites. That is when u is the same thing as minus v, or you can say minus v is u. So let's write this down. What do you get? Well, you get u squared. I'm sorry, I went too quick there. Well, you still get 4u squared is equal to 1. And what would you get there? You would get u squared is plus or minus 1/2. Right? I'm sorry, u is plus or minus 1/2. My apologies. All right, well, I think we've done that many times before, right? So what would you get? Well, let's just go for u as a half. If u is a half, what would v be? Minus 1/2. What's x? It's the sum of those two. So x would be 0. And then what do you get? You get 1. Now let's say I said u was minus 1/2, and the v would be its opposite, 1/2. All right, let's see if we can get that. Well, you're still going to get 0 for x. And what do you get for minus 1/2 minus 1? Let's see if we have that. When u and v are opposite, 0, 1. Did I put that down? Yep, right there. And 0, minus 1. And that one's right over there. All right? Let me highlight that. And someone says you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of intersection. By the way, there's an error here. I will take care of that error. So what do we do over here? Let's see if we got the points. We got the graph, and let's just see if we have the points. Let's start looking for them. 1, 0. right there. Minus 1, 0, right there. 0, minus 1, right there. 0, 1, right there. This one over here, it looks like 1, 1. This point over here, it looks like minus 1, minus 1. Everything's falling into place, by the way. And again, it's good to have a graph or a tool that would be able to do that for you. But there's 6 points of intersection there, right? I didn't see this being a terribly difficult problem, but it's tedious. There's no doubt about it. Like most of these problems, very tedious to deal with. Thank you for paying attention, though.